participants of the plenary session of the annual meeting and the business forum of the Eurasian Development Bank, I invited to the podium Mr. Takiyev, Minister of Finance of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Deputy Chairman of the Management Board of the Eurasian Bank, Minister of Finance of the Republic of Armenia, Mgir Grigoryan, Minister of Finance of the Republic of Belarus, Alexei Verchuk, Mr. Savinduk, the Minister of Commerce of the Kyrgyz Republic, and Mr. Chebeskov, the Chairman, the Deputy Minister of Finance of the Russian Federation, Farhod Saudolov-Vasidion, the Deputy Minister of Economic Development and Trade of the Republic of Tajikistan, Huram Fatixovich Shabayev, the Deputy Minister of Investment, Industry and Trade of the Republic of Uzbekistan. The moderator of the plenary session is Nikolai Podguzov, the Chairman of the Management Board of the Eurasian Development Bank. Your Excellencies, Madita Keshevich, dear participants, allow me to welcome you to the annual meeting and business forum of the Eurasian Development Bank. For me, it's a huge honor to be your moderator at this plenary session. Our speakers today are representatives of the member states of the bank. This basically is the session of our shareholders. 2026 is a unique year for the bank. This year, we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of our bank. The bank has been working in Eurasia since 2006. It supports economic ties and cooperation between the member states. Now, on behalf of the Eurasian Development Bank, I would like to express my gratitude to all chairmen of the board and all chairmen of the management board who laid the foundation of this bank and supported its development throughout this period of 20 years. Some of them are here today with us, and we would like to, of course, welcome them. Mr. Sagintayev, the chairman of the Council of the Eurasian Bank from 2016 to 2017. And Igor Afinogenov, the chairman of the management board of the Eurasian Development Bank in 2016-2015. Thank you, colleagues, for all that you did for the bank. And it's symbolic that this year, when we are celebrating the 20th anniversary, we have approved the strategy of the bank for 2027-2031. It will open a new page in the bank's history. Today, we're going to discuss the following topic: Eurasia 2030 plus, investments, growth, and new opportunities. The Eurasian region has one of the largest potential for development in the world. Over the recent years, the economies of the member states and Central Asia were growing above global rates. How can we strengthen this positive dynamics? We need to make sure that the bank works for the benefit of the populations of our countries. And it's important that we become part of new technological reality. And the ultimate goal, of course, is the prosperity and the well-being of our people and populations. Esteemed speakers, let's move on to our discussion. And I would like to wish you a productive and constructive dialogue. Kazakhstan is one of the founding states of the bank. It's the largest economy in Central Asia, and it's one of the key investment attraction centers in the region. Kazakhstan is one of the best examples of how investments in the infrastructure can impact citizens positively. From 2020, the bank's investments from the country has been $6.6 billion. The bank impacts the prosperity of millions of people in the country. The bank invested into the very airport of the country, and it services a large number of passengers. It's not just investments in infrastructure projects, but also its contribution into the connectivity of the region. Madita Keshevich, as you can see the investment agenda. What do you think, rather, about the investment agenda of the bank over the period of several years going forward? Thank you. Dear participants and guests of the forum, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to welcome you at today's business forum of the Eurasian Bank. Today's topic, of course, is an extremely relevant one, and especially given the current conditions. As has been said already, indeed, we're living in a constantly changing sort of environment whereby technologies are changing, and we need to pay more attention to the regional cooperation to ensure growth, obviously, in the region. Let me step away from the topic, but when we talk about new sources of growth, it's great that we're discussing this topic here in Almaty, where 20 years ago the foundation of this bank was laid. And in this connection, Nikolai Radich, allow me to congratulate you on that. And all of my colleagues, I would like to congratulate everyone on the 20th anniversary of our bank. Thank you. And I would like to emphasize the role that you played in the success of this bank. Today, the bank is one of the most reputable multilateral institutions. It unites 7 states. Indeed, the portfolio is about $20 billion. It covers more than 20 projects, and it has a practical significance for each and every member state. Behind these data and figures and numbers, we have a lot of things: modern production lines, thousands of jobs, etc. This year, as you know, the Sultanate of Oman will be joining us, and we are holding negotiations with Mongolia. And that way, we're expanding our international network. This will open up new horizons, and this will provide us with new projects and new opportunities. And all that is done, of course, for the benefit of our people and populations. But we also have a very ambitious goal. We would like to become a key platform that will determine our future development vector, so to speak. As for your question, I would like to say a few words about Kazakhstan. Direct foreign investment grew by 14.4%, and they amount to 20.5 billion. Investment in capital investments also amount to $43.5 billion, which is a historically high level. And until 2030, a lot will be done. A set of measures will be taken focusing on high-quality investments. We will create Kazakh Invest, sort of open up Kazakh Invest offices in various countries. Under the General Prosecutor's Office, we have a special office that protects foreign investors' interests. Also, a new visa regime will be introduced called Altyn visa, whereby those who are eligible will be exempt from paying taxes. Also, people will be able to work in a jurisdiction governed by English law. On a separate note, part of the investment agenda of our country is the new Alatau city. It's on our agenda. It hopefully will be a new center for businesses and investors. There we'll have tax preferences, simplified entrepreneurial regime, and other advantages will be provided. And Kazakhstan also offers to investors a lot of logistical opportunities. As you know, we are located right at the center of Eurasia. We have direct access to the markets of China, European Union, and the Middle East. Also, we are part of the global initiative One Belt, One Way, which will open up routes from east to west, south to north. And the bank is planning to take part in all of these initiatives and opportunities and projects. I would also like to say that we have the Artificial Intelligence Center, LMI, a strategy for that center has been approved recently. The new digital economy hopefully will be developed. Today, basically, all conditions are created in Kazakhstan that will enable investors to feel well in our country. Thank you. Thank you very much, Madita Kishevich. Despite the absence sort of the access to the sea, trade with Armenia has been sustainably growing over the past 5 years. Its volume increased threefold. And this shows that Eurasian connectivity for Armenia is not just an abstract issue, but it will allow the country to implement new opportunities. As per the bank's data, Armenia is leading in attracting foreign investment. In 2020-2025, its volume grew by 78%, which is 5 times faster than the average rate for the region. The Eurasian Bank played its role in this positive dynamics. Its investment in Armenia amount to more than $300 million, which is higher than our 5-year strategic objective. All this demonstrates that connectivity, investments, and development institutes, all of them put together, can create a lot of opportunities for countries. Dear colleague, can you please say a few words on this topic? Thank you. Thank you, Nikolai Radevich. Thank you, esteemed members of the board of the council, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to congratulate the Eurasian Bank on its 20th anniversary. Over these 20 years, the bank has proved that it's not just a financial institute, but it's a strategically important partner for our countries. It has become one, and we value highly our work with the bank. The bank's strategy for 2020-2026. Thanks to that strategy, we have been able to achieve record high levels. More than $400 million were invested in Armenia already. And we were able to achieve a lot in the real economy sector and in other sectors. The bank actively supports the development of the Private Partnership Institute. And I think that the bank has been financing really interesting projects in Armenia. Thanks to the bank, we have this objective to sustain, to ensure the sustainability of our fiscal indicators and to ensure transformation. So over the past several years, Armenia's economy has been growing at record high levels. Moreover, in 2022-2025, the real GDP increased by 1.7%. This result was ensured by high dynamics in trade and also thanks to the boom in the construction sector, which grew by more than 20% in the country. In the midterm, we forecast that the growth will be at the rate of 4.5%. The government of Armenia follows the macroeconomic stability principle and the debt sustainability principle. In the budget is 3.7% of VVP, and all that was done despite the unpredictability of in geopolitics. And government debt decreased by to 42%, and this is We are basically in a very safe zone, and that allows us to continue funding capital expenses, which reached 6.2% of GDP in 2025. In the midterm, we're planning to decrease our deficit by 2.8% and keep our debt at the level of less than 50%. For Armenia, this macroeconomic foundation means that we'll be able to move forward. So we're moving away from the export model of unprocessed raw materials, and we're moving towards the economy of services. And fast modernization of the private sector with the support of the government has created a very good foundation for this sort of shift. And we've been able to support this trend thanks to a well thought out fiscal policy. But now we want to go beyond just keeping our indicators. High quality transformation of economic growth is one of the priorities now. This means diversification of the economy and strengthening the self-sufficiency of the country. And to unlock this potential, the government of Armenia is laying the foundation, several foundations, by the way. One of them is new logistics and transport connectivity. And that's the reason why Armenia is investing into a new project, the aim of which is to open up new transport routes in southern Caucasus. And we do already have first results. Now, strategically important shipments are transported from Kazakhstan to Russia through Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Armenia. In parallel with that, we are modernizing domestic communications, and we are building a corridor south-north, and we're also launched a program focusing on one of our international airports. Another important program is to launch 5 industrial zones in different regions of the country where there is all the necessary infrastructure. At this stage, we're actively working with operators and investors to resolve this issue. Esteemed colleagues, the focus, obviously, all that requires a lot of resources for them to work as one and single mechanism, and we need loan money for these purposes and deep institutional partnership as well. And here in this field, the bank plays a strategically important role. It will help us to structure all these projects, to attract private capital and modernize enterprises, and to build all these chains, so to speak, with added value. The bank, as part of its new strategy, which is being developed right now, is fully synchronized with our national development agenda. And the priority areas that the bank has are our priority areas, actually. Thank you so much. Belarus is the leader of non-raw materials export in Eurasia. They have a wide range of industrial products that they export, and this country is at the top in this field among the country's member states. Its export basket is extremely diversified, and thanks to all that, Belarus is able to further expand in foreign markets. In Belarus, our bank's projects help the country to create a new industry and ensure food security and safety. Right now, a high-tech oil factory is being built in country. The aggregate capacity of the plant will amount to more than 1.5 tons per year. It's one of the largest plants in the region. Dear colleague, what do you think about the prospects, development prospects of the member states, and what do they need, financially speaking, to be able to develop further? Thank you so much. Allow me to join all those who have congratulated the bank on its 20th anniversary. And I would like to thank the organizers for this event and for this opportunity to take part in it. And also, I would like to thank you for this question. And it's not an easy question. For all of us, the way we see the future of the industry, of course, all of us see the future of the industry in our own way. And in Belarus, in the Industrial Competitiveness Index, we are ranked 56th. We were ranked, rather, last year. And so to be as objective as I can, I would like to provide the following answer, and I will be relying on two factors.
The basis foundation is that despite of all the difficulties that all our countries are facing and the external contour, we provided for macroeconomic stability. That is why the key role still remains for the industry. So in order to support macroeconomic stability, to support the positive growth of the by creating new technology industries and modernization of the existing production lines. Second objective is to be not only technological development, but to be sufficient. So we should emphasize our own innovation and development. This is the basic condition to support technological sovereignty. And third task is for the industry to become the high added value industry with high level of processing. It is not enough to produce quality and competitive product, but it should be delivered to the final end user. And that's why it is important to provide for the logistics, not only logistics of production, but also logistics of sales. So if we look for the mandate of the EDB, it's the work which it was doing for the last 20 years. So the key indicators and the financing volumes, more than a third of all implemented investment projects were about investment for the industry. The bank is working on funding infrastructure projects. And as the key development for the next 5 years, the bank is planning to be a leader in providing infrastructure projects in our countries, and also the support of innovative developments by accompanying them, by providing grant support. And that allows us to solve the task to be a bank in financing infrastructure projects in the industry. For the last year, the share of the investment projects in the EDB is 67%. In the first quarter, it was 69%, 67% in the first quarter. So the other important issue is that in addition to creating some basic conditions, here we need to note that in addition to lending institutes within the Eurasian Economic Union, we are trying to develop and to pilot other ways of financial support. Based on the decision of the Eurasian Economic Commission, we're having some pilot projects on subsidizing the interest rate participation on the loans provided by banks to implement integration projects. Why integration? Because there are 3 countries are involved here. The EDB position is very active here. So in order not only to support financially investment into the industry, investment in the infrastructure projects, I believe that EDB has a very good experience to be a project office, which could not only offer a good business idea in the industry, but to structure it and to offer effective and competitive ways of financial support. Thank you, Vyslav Vikentьевich. Very interesting thoughts. And we are going to accept this as the recommendations for action. Kyrgyzstan now demonstrates high, strong economic dynamics. It's going to grow more than 10%. This is the expansion of the internal demand in the infrastructure, and so there are new opportunities for investors and development institutions. The last years were upscaling the EDB activities in Kyrgyzstan. It has grown 4 times while the existing strategy was implemented. The projects of the bank creating new infrastructure, modernizing industry, and with the EDB support in Kyrgyzstan, there is a largest solar power station for 300 megawatts. How Kyrgyzstan is planning to keep these high growth rates? How do you see the role of international development banks in implementing industry, energy, and logistical potential of Kyrgyzstan? Dear participants of the discussion, let me welcome and congratulate our bank with the 20th anniversary and to wish further development and strengthening of the achievements which have been achieved for this past period. As to Kyrgyz Republic, within the discussion of the Eurasia 2030 plus, the country comes to this moment with high macroeconomic achievements. Despite of the global uncertainty, the country's economy demonstrates reliable and high growth rates. From 2021 to 2025, the average GDP growth was 10%, which is currently one of the high indicators in the Eurasian region. The positive dynamics is preserved this year too, from January to May 2026. We had 12.2% of growth. The high growth rates are due to the expansion of the internal consumption, active investment, and development of the industry as we expand construction and service in the external trade. That provides the foundation for the long-term objectives for socio-economic development. So for this period, we are intending to preserve the growth rates. The national strategy of Kyrgyz Republic until 2030 is quite ambitious to support the growth at the level of at least 8% per annum. In order to achieve these goals, there were 4 strategy vectors identified. First is industrial development of the country, reindustrialization. Second, it's forming in Kyrgyzstan to establish a regional logistics, trade, and commerce hub, and unlocking the potential of energy potential. 13% of the entire water energy potential is being used. So we need to work on this objective. So for this objectives, we implement some national flagship projects. Some of them are regional, such as Tarbagatay 1, Karabalta 1, and this is a transformative project of the regional landscape, where the Eurasian EDB countries are participating: Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and also the railway project is being implemented to improve connectivity of the country and the region in general. The fourth area, which we call sustainable tourism and organic farming, is to increase the efficiency and the throughput in those sectors. This would require some investment resources and effective mechanisms. So that is why the role of international development banks is growing as partners that can provide not only financial resources but become the catalyst for the regional integration and reforms. The new PowerPoints would be by deepening industrial cooperation, creating modern industrial chains, and developing digital platforms and transport and logistical corridors. To implement this objective of EDB, it is important to strengthen its role as a financial institute and the key development institute for Eurasian integration, concentrating resources on projects that would create long-term added value for the entire region. We've been discussing the strategy, the vision of the bank as the support bank, as a pivotal bank, and the 20 years have passed, so we have accumulated a large expertise and a portfolio. So the bank would not only be the pivotal bank, but also a serious bank of expertise. We have 20 years of experience, so we have things to share, how to forecast and to think right. For Kyrgyz Republic, the key area of growth is to develop transport, logistical infrastructure, energy, industrial cooperation, and agro farming, the digital platforms and sustainable development. In order to implement these opportunities, it's not enough to have prospective ideas. The main restriction is how to turn ideas into investment projects, which would correlate to the requirements of international financial institutes and investors. That is why we need to EDB should play a special role. One of the key areas of the bank is to simplify the access of the participants to financial and expertise resources of EDB. So if we would like to talk about investment agenda 2030 plus, we need to understand that the competition between the regions will happen not only for the capital, but also for the quality ideas and projects. The capital flows where there are prepared initiatives, transparent procedures, professional teams, and effective institutional development. That is why our objective is to make Eurasian region a space where prospective projects are fastly enrolled, prepared in a quality way, and are getting early financing. So I am confident that EDB could become the key institute uniting financial resources, expert competition, and project initiatives of the countries of the region. Bakhatolomushevich, we thank you so much. We also take your thesis as the foundation of making investment strategy for Kyrgyzstan for the next period. Russia is one of the largest economies in the world. Based on 2025, the country takes fourth place for GDP, for the parity of purchasing power, ahead of Japan, Germany, and Indonesia. This scale means a large market, industrial base, technology, and demand, and that is extremely important for the neighboring countries. That builds opportunities far beyond the country's economy. Russia is expanding financial flows and economic cooperation with the Eurasian region countries. Eurasian region for Russia is the space of growth and cooperation. The bank projects create comfort transport infrastructure for the business and for the population. The high-speed roads were used by 158 million times, which is 25% of the toll roads in Russia. And that is not only investment in the transport infrastructure, but it's connectivity of our countries. Ivan Alexandrovich, the floor is yours for a comment. Thank you so much, Nikolai Radovich. I'm happy to welcome all of you. I'd like to join our colleagues, congratulate everyone with the 20th anniversary of the bank works. It's a big date, big achievements, and also to join the words of our Kazakhstani colleagues. We thank them for your hospitality. As to your question, we are all seeing now a unique time when the world economy is having some deep structural changes, which we haven't seen for decades. There is growth, the growth is still there, but it's not so sustainable, and the sources of this growth are concentrated in a limited amount of sectors. Trade routes are changed, and the mechanisms of attracting capital, so we cannot adapt to one global change while the second change is coming, so they're all overlapping, and that is making projects extremely complicated as to the funding, and these are the projects which are needed to preserve sustainable growth. So in those realities, the importance of those regions is ever growing that can provide its growth model. So that is the task for the next years. We're not only adapting, but also making steps together with the EDB so that we could turn our opportunities into long-term investment opportunities. So this is the economic base for the GDP of the participant countries has increased 1.5 times, which is higher than in the global growth rates. So our region is attractive as to its dynamics and macroeconomic indicators. This year, the economy is going to grow by 6.5 times in the EDB countries, and the GDP is going to be more than 600 billion US dollars. So we have not only the potential, but also macroeconomic base for the transition to the new growth. So some of the colleagues have already mentioned, and we have a single opinion that we need to connect the infrastructure, industry, and the industry and digital solutions. We agree with what Vyacheslav Vikentievich was saying, that we need the elements of sovereignty. That is our common strategy. The technological solutions should be, and right now in Russian Federation, more than 70% of the companies are using AI in their daily work, and I believe that this number is going to grow to 100%. So the solutions that we are using now would secure the opportunities to use it in the future, and there should be no further restrictions. So it's important to develop our own technological base, and for that, to that end, we need development banks such as EDB, and its function is beyond just providing funding. So EDB is the connecting link for our countries, for our economies. It's like a glue which helps us, the interest of our economies, to work for the benefit of us all. And as it was already mentioned, this is not only attracting long-term money, but also an opportunity to collect very comprehensive projects, collecting money from the whole world. And we are very happy that EDB is playing a leading role in this region. More than 36% of the entire funds attracted through multilateral development banks is done by EDB, which as we are celebrating the 20th anniversary. And the colleagues have already mentioned that next year we are going to enter in the new strategic cycle, and the key elements of the new strategic cycle would be the Eurasian transport logistical space.
This is one of the most important elements of the strategy which we are discussing right now, and of course it's extremely significant for the region itself. As of now, the aggregate volume of investment of the bank has reached $1.8 billion American dollars, as per in this field, in this direction, so to speak. Also, we can confidently say that with the active development of AI, which I have mentioned already, digital technologies, etc., we are in a new stage of the Industrial Revolution. And this also, as part of the new strategy, will be one of the priority areas for the bank. And of course, and we have been discussing this already at the council, at the board of the bank, it's important that we diversify sources of financing. And the bank is actively working on that, and we can say that we have been successful, especially in light of all the new developments. Now we have expanded the range of sources, so to speak, of attraction of investment. That's why we support the bank in this field. And again, I would like to repeat that this is a connecting link. The bank is a connecting link for our region. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much, Ivan Alexandrovich, for speaking and highly and evaluating highly what the bank has been doing. Of course, we will make sure that AI is introduced everywhere, in everything that we do, in all of the projects that we are implementing. And again, I would like to thank our shareholders. They are very active in supporting the bank, obviously, and they are supporting the bank in that it is able to achieve its goals and objectives. So thank you again for staying involved in what we do. Tajikistan is a fast-growing economy in the region. The economy of the country was growing at the rate of more than 6% per year, which is higher than the rate of other developing countries, and the economic potential is also expanding. It now has reached $2.5 billion in 2025. Behind these figures, we have not only domestic growth, but also the country becoming part of all international economic processes. And this has enabled the country to improve the lives of its citizens. The grain project was implemented by the country with the assistance and support of the bank. Thanks to that, millions of people are now able to have access to products that are made of enriched grain, basically. Farhod, can I ask you to say a few words about investment priorities of Tajikistan? Thank you very much, esteemed Nikolai Radevich and colleagues. First of all, allow me to congratulate the bank on its 20th anniversary and on its successful work. The bank has become a very important development institute that strengthens economic cooperation and implementation of large infrastructure projects, and it contributes to strengthening economic ties between the countries. Speaking about priority areas, those are sustainability of the economic development, development of infrastructure, expansion of regional cooperation. Those are all strategic objectives until 2030 for the country. Today, the global economy is experiencing a transformation, and in light of that, we need to ask this question: what role will be played by Eurasia in this new global architecture? And within the next few years, we need to think about not only volumes of investment, but also our ability to create modern transport and energy and digital ties and connections between the regions and the countries. Of course, the geoeconomic competition is becoming tougher, and also the global markets are changing. So against this backdrop for Eurasia, it's important not only to sustain growth and growth rates, but also to think more about sustainability, human capital, and other important issues. For us to be able to transition, we need to strengthen our regional cooperation, develop trade, and focus more on the infrastructure of connectivity. Tajikistan is viewed as a natural energy, transport, and digital bridge between Central and Southern Asia. It will be able to contribute significantly into the single space of sustainable growth, security, safety, and connectivity in Central Asia. And that's exactly why we think that the development of international transport corridors is a very important issue, as well as the development of the energy infrastructure. This will enable close integration in our region and will open up new economic opportunities for the countries. I would like to point out that Tajikistan cooperates with EDB, and projects in transport and infrastructure that are implemented by the bank are very important for us. And we're interested in expanding our cooperation with the bank in such areas as transport, logistics, infrastructure, energy, industrial cooperation, development of digital solutions, free economic zones, and support and assistance to the private sector. Of particular importance is the energy sector. And energy projects are viewed by us as an important factor of sustainable growth in the region. Strategically important for our country is the implementation of projects the project of Atmurskaya power station. When this project is completed, the capacity, by the way, is more than 3,000 gigawatt. This will become a very important factor for ensuring energy security in the region, development of green economy, and increase of export of clean energy in the region. The contribution of EDB in the implementation of regional cooperation projects is also an important issue, and we support all projects in this area. trans-border infrastructure, support to green economy, financing of digital transformation and technological innovations and solutions, and creation of favorable conditions for the development of private sector. All these issues, we value them very highly. And the new strategy of the bank will enable us to open up, to unlock this potential of Eurasia and ensure sustainable development going forward. I'm sure that together we'll be able to ensure that Eurasia is developing sustainably, that it becomes a more competitive region. Thank you. Thank you so much, Farhod Sadullo. The joining of Uzbekistan is a very important step in the development of EDB. In 2021, Uzbekistan became a member state, and in 2026, EDB opened a representative office in Tashkent. Investments in Uzbekistan by EDB in the midterm will reach $1.5 to $2 billion. And this year, EDB already has approved its first projects worth of hundreds of millions of dollars, and it is preparing financing for new projects in Uzbekistan. My dear colleague, what are the priority areas for you in terms of where international financial institutes such as EDB should be sort of focusing on and should be prioritizing? What are the main areas for you? Thank you. First of all, allow me to express my gratitude to the team of EDB for organizing this event and the annual meeting and the business forum. It's symbolic that this forum is being held when we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of the bank. The bank has become one of the key development institutes in the region and a reputable platform for an open dialogue and developing joint solutions for Eurasia. The cooperation of Uzbekistan with the member states of the Eurasian Economic Union has become one of the most dynamic sort of areas of our economic activities, especially if we look at investments. Today, the aggregate portfolio of joint projects that are being implemented with companies of the Union exceeds millions of dollars, and it covers such areas as digital economy, transport, logistics, etc. And this development has been sustainable, and trade is one of the important sort of factors. Trade grew by more than twofold over the past several years, and almost a quarter of our trade turnover is accounted for by trade with our partners in the Eurasian space, Eurasian Economic Union. And interregional cooperation is especially important. It forms a single production and logistical chain, so to speak. And that's the reason why in Uzbekistan, the economic development consists of basically private investments, international financing, and modern technologies. And international development banks play a very important role. They bring with them new standards, resources, and everything that we need to be able to implement large interregional projects. And for us, the main areas where we need to attract investment are the following. Number one, transport connectivity between the member states. This is a capital-intensive field, obviously, but we are open for mutual financing here, as we say, and the bank's participation in strategically important projects such as the Trans-Afghan corridor that will ensure access to Southern Asia, as well as the South-North corridor. Those are the most important projects for us, and they form the carcass of international trade. Number two, value-added chains. We're interested in investments whereby we can create new production lines with value added, and we'll be able to form new regional production chains that way, hopefully. And number 3, sustainable energy, green energy. This has proven its investment attractiveness already. We've been able to attract more than $19 billion in this field, in this area, and we introduced 17 gigawatt of new energy capacity. Again, the priority is renewables, accumulation energy systems, and modernization of grids. One of the examples from this field is the Komboratinskaya power station project. It's a large-scale regional project, and obviously we're open for financing. And we're implementing this project together with our Kazakhstani partners in Kyrgyzstan. Number 4, digital economy, artificial intelligence. We are attracting investments in the digital infrastructure, data centers, and technological platforms as part of our national strategy for the development of AI. I think the trans-border electronic trade project is one of the most interesting projects for us to be able to transition to digital economy. In conclusion, I would like to emphasize that the future of Eurasian economy lies behind joint solutions, and we'll be able to achieve growth only if we work together and international development banks act as reliable partners in the implementation of joint projects. Uzbekistan is open for strengthening of inter-regional cooperation, and we're inviting our partners to join us to work together in the Eurasian space. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much, Kuram Fatihovich. Indeed, with your country joining the bank, our bank's work in Central Asia, in Eurasia, will become even more productive, and we will feel even more confident. Many projects are being implemented in several countries simultaneously, and obviously Uzbekistan plays a key role in this region. And this step that was taken by Uzbekistan is a very important step, and we will do our best to prove that you have taken the right decision, and we'll be able to implement investment projects in your country to be able to sort of prove that. Esteemed participants of our plenary session, since I am your moderator now, I would like to thank several key people who have played a very significant and important role in the work of our bank over a period of these 20 years. First of all, I would like to welcome the former Minister of Finance of Kazakhstan and Deputy Chairman of the Council, Mr. Jamishev, who is here with us today. Thank you so much, Bulat Bidahmetovich. For many years, the Strategy Committee worked and took part in the work of our bank, of the Eurasian Bank, and the Deputy Minister of Finance, Sergei Anatolyevich Starchak, played a key role in the work of that committee and of the bank. At our bank, or in the team of our bank, we have a lot of leaders and executives who have contributed immensely into the work and into the bank itself. Allow me to welcome Sergei Sergeyevich Sidorsky, who is the former Prime Minister of Belarus. He now works at our bank. Two-time chairman of the National Bank, Grigory Alexandrovich Marchenko, is also here. The chairman of the government, the prime minister, rather, of the government of Armenia, and the chairman of the Eurasian Economic Commission. Now he is the leader of the Digital Initiatives Committee of EDB, Mr. Sarkisyan. the Minister of Economy of Kazakhstan, the former minister, and now he's one of the key deputy chairman of the bank, who is responsible for investment projects in Kazakhstan, Mr. Dalenov. The team is results-oriented, so to speak, and is able to help achieve the bank all of its goals and objectives. And so we've been blessed with this fantastic team, basically. Also, we're joined today by Igor Valentinovich Afinogenov. He's the first chairman of the management board of EDB. He was one of those people who laid sort of the long-term foundation of the bank. He was behind the team, behind first ratings, behind first bonds, and he helped the bank to navigate the 2008 financial crisis. So basically, his contribution into the success of the bank is immense. Igor Valentin, could you say a few words?
Конечно, несколькими словами это не опишешь. То чувство, которое я сегодня испытываю.
I can't describe this just in several words, what I feel. It's quite important day for me. That is why, dear colleagues, friends, members of the council, the bank employees, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to present to you and to talk about our journey. I'm not going to speak too long. Because the status which was granted to me by the destiny to be at the source of the EDB is quite valuable. On the 20th anniversary, I keep falling back into the memories of the two offices of the National Bank of Kazakhstan here in Almaty, where 5 people were working, creating the International Development Institute from scratch. And we were forming our team, the team of people that were genuinely involved in this, not only creating the new organization, but an institute to change the economic landscape of the region. That would be impossible without the support of the countries that have founded the EDB, the economic bloc countries. I was fortunate to participate in the first strategy and growth priorities. So the foundation laid 20 years ago turned out to be sustainable and reliable. So the bank has formed unique expertise and has earned the trust of the business community. So this trust was the foundation for the bank to grow, to scale up, and to implement projects that would be in high demand by all the participants. For the last 20 years, a lot has changed. The political storms are changing the landscape. The global development institutes are adjusting their roles and goals towards the region. There are some political decisions in choosing the projects in the countries that we are trying to implement. So it's important that one of the sizable results of the bank's 20th anniversary is that the bank is not too stringent in its approaches, but is trying to search for new approaches into the development projects. What remains is the bank mission. So that was the basis for its growth and development. The bank projects aiding economic development and integration of our countries. They help us to tackle most important social issues, creating new opportunities for millions of people. Today we are pleased to see that the energy and the passion that we had as a first team remains today. Talking to the current leadership and employees, I feel the same motivation, the same belief in the importance of our work. The responsibility, professionalism, teamwork, development, international approach, the passion. That is not only the beautiful words in corporate documents, but these were the principles and the values that we were using day to day while building the organization. And I believe that these values will remain the same, and the bank will continue to develop according to its mission and its most pressing objectives. For me, I was very pleased that after 20 years, the bank has not only remained but became much stronger than we could have dreamed in those two offices here in Almaty back in 20 years ago. So I would be pleased to name everyone who was instrumental in its foundation. I could also add Serik Primbetov, who at that time from Eurasia was helping us in the ideology and its foundation of the bank. I wish to EDB new projects, trust of the partners, and further success in integration of our countries. And this is to congratulate the 20th anniversary of EDB. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Igor. So you gave bank to your successors, dear members of the council. We have adopted the new strategy for 27-31, and we had a good discussion. So all your input, your thoughts would be analyzed as the instructions for our work for the next strategy period. In the difficult conditions, we have performed 2022-26, and I could attest that we are going to implement strategy 27-31 because the support which we have extended to us on a daily basis leaves us no choice than continue working actively on the investment policy of the Eurasian region. And I'd like to say from the bank team, I'd like to thank the chair of the Bank Council, Aljas Bektenov, and all the members of the council for the support that you are extending. The bank is growing, and we have some new investment horizons to tackle. Thank you so much. With this, we have exhausted our plenary session, and I wish you a good forum and constructive work. Thank you.
Уважаемые дамы и
Dear ladies and gentlemen, the panel discussion is over. Plenary session Eurasia 2030 plus investment growth and new opportunities is to continue at 12 o'clock.